Today is Saturday, December 21st, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 47 Finale Part 2.
We are at the end of the road. We got one more order of business we got to take care of. We need to check in with the super fans, see what they thought about this finale, the season as a whole. What do you think of this winner? All of that and more.
You said winter. I thought you said winter. It's like, what? I just
squirrel.
I just had something come over me as I was reading the date.
Yeah?
And I thought, oh, this is our last podcast for 2024.
It is?
The next one will be 2025.
Yes. This isn't. We have come to the end of, this is 20 years we're finishing off right now. We've been podcasting. This is
20?
Our 20th year. Started back in 2005.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of skipped over, kind of missed a little bit. I thought we were still in 20 years? Mm-hmm. Well, no wonder we've gotten so much older.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that's how that happened.
The podcast could be on Survivor. It is of age. It could be a contestant at this point.
I was thinking about, I thought, oh yeah, I still like this music. And I thought, it made me think back to the days when we used to spend hours. You would drive me insane. You'd spend 3 hours searching for the perfect music to play a little clip of it at the beginning and the end that had something to do with the episode. We spent so much time searching and doing that kind of stuff.
I did used to search for thematically significant musical choices for the intro and outro, but it did not require hours.
Yes, it did.
It felt like hours. I know it did to you.
Remember how you said you don't remember things so well anymore? That's one of them.
Okay.
Anyway,
squirrel. We're here to finish off season 47. Okay? You with me? Back on track on this page.
I am. Hey, who's been pulling who on track this morning?
It wasn't you.
Yes, it was.
No, you've just been doing different squirrels.
Mister, I need to go to Harbor Freight and buy a third generator.
Anyway, you're doing it again.
Okay.
Let's focus on the finale.
Let's hear what Pete has to say. Go, Pete.
Okay.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, my Atlanta, guys. I'll say this. What an awesome finale for Survivor 47. And the right person absolutely won the game. So I'm going to let out a great big woo! And as we say here, salute a Pepsi-Cola, baby. Congrats to the 47th winner in Survivor history, Rachel. Well earned, for sure. You could say she was on the wrong side of the votes. She won 4 immunities, this and that, and she had those advantages with the blocker vote and the idol, but she played a flawless, solid game. She worked the jury hard. She strategized well. I read in her interview right before the finale, especially after the Sierra vote, how she had to change her game up, and she had worked with Caroline and with Sue, which Sue ended up being with her in the final 3, and then tried to work a little bit with Andy, but didn't trust Andy, and Teeny being in the middle too. She deserved it. Hats off to you, Rachel. And the jury wasn't bitter. They asked very top tier questions about the game, what got them there, what was their move that that wasn't so great, throwing each other under the bus at times, fighting. It was great. And I'd be remiss. How about Sam in that fire-making challenge? It really looked like, guys, Teeny was going to pull it out there by a landslide, because Sam couldn't even start a fire for the life of him. But somehow that rope wasn't breaking for Teeny, and Sam, to his credit, didn't give up and ended up having a miraculous comeback to get to the final three. I feel like that was the theme for Teeny all season. But hey, she fought to the very end, came within an eyelash of making it to the final three, and it would have been the first all-women final three, I believe, since One World, the season that Kim Spradlin won, who, by the way, I think is right up there with Rachel with immunities, along with Poverty. That was awesome. A great fire-making challenge. Kudos to Rachel for winning 4 immunities, the idol, and the advantage there with the vote. Sue, I love that she revealed she was the almost 60th final tribal. She said she would, but you knew she wasn't going to get any votes there. I thought Sam may have gotten more votes, maybe Sierra's vote, or maybe possibly Andy, or maybe even Gabe's vote for that matter, but it wasn't enough, though. He fought hard. Rachel was just better, and like I said, flawless, and it was a great finale. I do wish we got to see the pre-jury members now, since this new era. Would have loved to have heard from Rome and Annika and Aisha, but that's how it is now. Probes love this. Now we get season 48 coming in the spring, but that's coming in the spring. Let's put it into this season, 47, which was solid. I've enjoyed it out of all the new era seasons for sure. Congrats, Rachel. Really love this season. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, guys. Take care. See you next year. And here we go, season 48. Woo.
Whoa. Thanks, Pete.
You know, when Pete was talking about Sue, I thought, I think Sue's happy in that she actually did get what she needed from the season, which was, she wanted her grandson to see that his granny could get to the end. Mm-hmm. She could make it. She could hang with the younger people. And she got to say to all of the jury that she kicked all their asses. And that's one of the things she wanted to do.
Yep, she stated that in the very beginning, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. In her interviews, the ones that I checked out, she seemed very positive. She was remiss. She was a little bummed that she didn't get any votes, that none of what she said really landed. She didn't get that recognition from the jury she was hoping for. But in the bigger scheme of things, it felt like a success for her. And she was very positive in the interviews that she did this past week.
Yeah, she's got a lot to be proud of, and leaving that legacy for her grandson. So, okay.
And everyone else of that age.
Who knows? Maybe he'll be on Survivor one day.
Yeah, and to inspire other folks of that age.
Yes.
To get out there and do it too. Rachel, in her interview, said the thing that she wanted to see more of was that her relationship with Caroline. She, I guess, evidently was arm in arm with Caroline on a lot of things. And they spent a lot of time after that Sierra vote strategizing together, and it was completely invisible. She said that was something that she wished had been shown more. And that there were many times during that tribal council where she was unsure that she had made, the right choices, and if the jury was with her or not, if they were going to recognize her overall game, or was Sam winning them over. So when Jeff brought the votes back, she wasn't clear at all.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Just like us. So yeah, he definitely had an impact for sure. Good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my final feedback on season 47. And what a season it was. I really enjoyed this season, and I thought that the finale was great as well. As many of you probably had, I had concerns that the finale was going to be kind of predictable. I think a lot of us were pretty sure that Rachel was going to win this season, especially because she couldn't be voted out. But I don't think many people predicted that the finale would transpire exactly how it did. I did have the final order correctly. I thought Sam and Teeny would be the ones to make fire, but I thought it would be a complete washout. I had assumed that Sam knew how to make fire, and obviously he didn't, but Wow, what a crazy fire-making challenge that was. And this is a public service announcement for all future players of Survivor. Practice making fire before you go out there. You know it's part of the game. It could be $1 million mistake you're making if you don't, so make sure you practice making fire. With Rachel winning the game, I thought it would be interesting to look at my preseason take on her and what I thought. So I looked up my notes. And one of the things I noted about Rachel that I was really drawn to was how adaptable she was. And I wish I picked her as my USB. And even when I had a chance to pick a new USB, I didn't go with Rachel just because I thought she'd have such a hard road to win the game. And she did. She had to win a lot of challenges to be able to get there. So, and I was reading into her interviews as well before the season. And it's kind of interesting because she said about how idols and advantages in the new era set you up to fail. And they obviously played such a big part of her game. But she also said that she definitely would not volunteer herself for a journey, which of course she did. So I just think this further proves how adaptable of a player she was. She's in probably maybe even my top 10 winners of Survivor. I don't know, I just really enjoyed watching her play. She was a challenge beast. She was very social and just a fun player to watch. And I think this season is definitely my favorite one of the new era, which I think a lot of people will say as well. So that's great. Now, on to the Business as a Side challenge. Yes, indeed, I am the winner. Someone else other than Jeremiah had to win, so I'm glad that I could do it. Now, I had no idea before the episode. I was really concerned about losing, but I didn't have any idea that being a winner of the side challenge would also be a lot of pressure because you have to pick a really good song. So I've been racking my brain for the past few days, listening to hundreds of songs, trying to find the right one. Awesome. And as the resident Canadian on the podcast, I really wanted to choose a Canadian artist. And I think I found the perfect song for you to do, Anderson. It's a Canadian rock classic by the band Bachman Turner Overdrive called Taking Care of Business. And they're actually from Winnipeg, Manitoba, where Genevieve was on the season. So excellent. I think that's really cool, and I think it'll be a good song to create a parody of. So I hope that you have fun with that, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. But that's it for my feedback, and I'll talk to you all in the new year. You take care.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, thank you, Robert, for putting so much thought in that and sharing that with us. That's awesome.
That's a lot of work. And
I love our community.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic song, too. Yeah, I think he'll be able to do something really cool with that. You at least gave him an opportunity to. Good deal. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu. Season 47's finale, which was fantastic. I had an absolutely wonderful time watching it. I did have Rachel as the winner, so I did get points for that. But that was the only one in the lineup I had correct. I had Sue second, Teeny third, and Sam fourth. For some reason, I really thought that they would bring Teeny to the end because I think she'd be like a no-vote third place person. I was surprised that Rachel put Teeny in fire against Sam. And I found it very annoying only because it made Teeny more of a whiner, and there was a part of me that wanted to kind of reach into the screen and pat her on the head and be like, honey, stop complaining about Sam. He's not part of this rivalry you have going on in your head. And when she stood up in front of everybody and said all her reasons for not liking Sam, they kind of were shallow. And I don't like him because he probably was popular and he's a good-looking guy. And I feel like if profiling somebody for their race, gender, sexuality ever went in the other direction, it wouldn't go over very well. But for some reason, it was kind of brushed over that that's exactly what she was doing to Sam. She didn't like him because he was a guy, he was good looking, and he got all the girls. I don't like victim whining. It upsets me to see that kind of behavior. So even though I had been rooting for Teeny and I had Sam as fourth, I was very satisfied that she went out at fire. It was kind of funny, like when the wind blew her fire away from the string, I was like, well, I don't think the Survivor gods like your whining either, Teeny. They just put out your fire.
There you go.
And because when does that actually happen? That the wind blows the fire away from the string. So I liked that Sam actually took third place. But again, I had some issues with the final tribal council when he was rather whiny too. I didn't appreciate that he got very arrogant, and it was like he was trying to rewrite history and say moves that Rachel had made were not as significant, or somehow he was more involved in them. And he came off as arrogant and pompous, and I don't like that he said, I deserve to get your vote. None of them deserve the vote. You hope that they get the vote. I actually loved Sue in the final. I loved how loyal she was. She did play a very sweet, clean game. And once you washed the soot off her face, she actually looked radiant and beautiful in the final. And I just love that Rachel won. She was the most deserving. She played the best game. She really was a stellar player, and I think we're going to remember her name for a long time. So, of course, always bittersweet. The finale was great, but now it's over, and we have to wait for season 48, which I'm really looking forward to. On Sunday here in Oahu, the Eddy in Waimea Bay is a go. So Becky is a go to bike to North Shore and watch the Eddy. I took a great bike ride out to North Shore last Sunday, and it was 74 miles. It was wonderful. And I'm going to do it again so I can catch the World Super Bowl of surf contests. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well, and Merry Christmas to all.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Good
Yeah, I
job.
felt that way about Sam and his performance at Tribal as well. Though, I guess I can overlook that somewhat because he was fighting hard for $1 million. So it's like, okay.
There were flashes of brilliance and several oversteps,
Yep.
but that's...
But at least he was trying.
Yes. Yes.
So he wanted it. He continued to fight to the end, and I'll give him that.
Good deal. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. Season 47 is over and I'm so happy. My favorite person won. Very satisfying finale, and I got all the last 5 names correct in the vote out list. So that was pretty good. I thought Rachel did so well. Sadly, Sam didn't come up to the mark. He did not win an immunity challenge, and I found it hilarious when he said, oh, she was always sitting there with immunity. Well, immunity is a part of the game, and so Rachel outplayed and outwitted him. Good one. And I was really happy that she got almost all the vote, with Sam getting only 1. The fire making challenge was so exciting and so unfair because poor Teeny, she had such a wonderful roaring fire, and it's like, hey, the wind. And I was thinking the same thing what Stacy was saying. Why didn't Teeny just stand up in front and prevent that? But I suppose you're in so much of the tension is there and the game, you don't think about all that. And of course, I think luck plays such a big part in Sam won. That was a good win for him. And this season has been so good. I really, really enjoyed this, and all the players were really good. And now going to wait for the next season. I hope it's as good and lots of fun, and I'm wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Keep safe, everybody, and wishing you all good health, happiness, and lots of joy, time with your families, until we talk to each other again in February next year. Cheers.
Cheers, Rashmi. Teeny said in her exit interviews that she wished she had thought to stand up and block that, but in the heat of the moment, that did not occur. So there you are. Thanks, Rashmi. Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, everyone. What a thrilling end to a fantastic season. My immediate takeaway after it ended was how great the editors performed their job. Once Rachel won the final immunity, I thought it was going to be a snooze fest, but I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. The fire challenge was crazy. For my second season in a row, I had the final order correct in JSFL. Yay! Even so, I was cheering for Teeny when their fire was blazing because they practice fire like a good Survivor player. What the heck, Sam? I was yelling. Get up and block the win, Teeny, at my TV. I haven't had time to go back and find the season, but I'm pretty sure someone in the past has jumped up to block the win in similar situations, so I think it's allowed. I went back and looked from 46 all the way back to 35 when it started, and I didn't see anyone do that, but there are people who do stand up. They didn't specifically stand up to block it, But I'm same as Tara. I had this recollection that had happened at some point. So yeah, I just didn't find it. I did go back and look at them all. Even so, I really liked how they went out making peace with Sam. It looked like the other players almost viewed Teeny as a younger sibling. With a few years of life experience, I think they could come back and play a much better game. That's possible. There's definitely some work going on Teeny's part. There were so many small moments that made the finale great as well. Sam finally tasting watermelon for the first time was really fun. Maybe I'm bad, but I had to laugh at Teeny throwing the F-bomb at Sam in the water, too. Sam's familiar surprised face when Sue gave her big age reveal was hilarious. And, of course, Sue had to bring up Tweedledee-dee, Tweedledee-dum again.
Tweedledee-dum.
Too funny. As far as Final Tribal, a big kudos to the editors once again for keeping us guessing. Going in, it looked like a slam dunk for Rachel, but almost immediately I wasn't so sure. Amanda Kimmel even popped in my head at one moment. She never even mentioned how she used her shot in the dark so brilliantly. In her interviews, Rachel said she didn't think much of it at the time. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing, so it wasn't something that she had registered as a significant event. That's why she didn't reference it. Sam did a great job explaining his game, too. By the vote, I thought it could go either way. I'm glad Rachel pulled out the win to end such a great season, though. She really deserves it. I'll really miss hearing everyone each week for the next couple months, but looking forward to season 48. Happy holidays to those that celebrate. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. As always, I'll talk to you all in February. Thanks, Tara. Great job. Next up, we've got a call from Nora.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Nora in Canada, and I am so thrilled. I am voting to rejoice, to celebrate the most glorious Survivor season I've ever watched. And I watched from the very beginning, and then I gave up. I went on strike when bad people became the fashion. People like Russell and the sort of bad hillbillies who hid the axe from everybody so they couldn't have fires. Suddenly, this season came up, and it was absolute perfection. I did enjoy the Andy arc, and Rachel is the finest Survivor winner ever of all time, in my humble opinion. She didn't need brute force, big body strength, but she was a physical killer. She won more immunities than all but 4 other women in history. She, physical, mental, social, and I've watched it so many times. She's there on the beach with Andy and Sam, and the acting was superb. It's not fakery or whatever, disingenuousness. When you actually produce tears, it's called method acting, where you really put yourself in some kind of mental position to produce them. So that was skillful and fabulous. And she made a connection. So now we're on connection. This is classic CIA agent making. So now there's a connection. You watch, and then in her series of interviews there with Andy, her treatment of him, she used the stick first. I know other people might have been yelling, "Don't say careless" to Andy because you're going to hurt him and he's going to come get you. Well, hello, that's called, in sales training, I believe, uncovering the objections, where, yeah, you do use a bit of stick because you want to get them to come to you for succor later. So you use a little stick. Oh, careless, that stung. And you can see the reaction. There's the little bit of stick. And then she goes more and more. And she outlines it in her interview with Mike Bloom. And she uses the word blackmail, where she was blackmailing him. Mm-hmm. And I congratulate myself because that's exactly what I saw. So it's a CIA method of making a citizen an agent. You use blackmail first, and then you're the rescue. Here's the carrot. And she did exactly that. If Langley is not calling Rachel, they're real dumb, because, honest to God, would she not be the best double agent ever on the planet? Her intelligence, knowing when to shut up, and how to stay quiet, and remember when she crawled into the bush to overhear and listen. She is a woman hero to me. She is just an inspiration for her genius, for her resilience. I really hope that anybody who wants to play Survivor in the future just studies every single thing Rachel does, because to me, it's perfection. Stacey and Joanne, thank you so much for what you've done for us Survivor nerds. I feel this is our home, and you guys are our parents. And I just love you guys. And thank you very much. All of the people who phone in, I learn from them every time. I adore them. I want to be able to pick winners like Rashmi and Shahin do, and I just love everybody in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. That was great.
I really appreciated Rachel's ability to listen to things that people were saying, and her face did not react to it. She was able to keep that, listening, I'm listening, I'm listening, and keep them going. You know, she didn't show anything that would shut them down or change what they were saying or any of that. She just let them, and she kept that face neutral enough that they could continue on. Just tell me all you want to tell.
Yes, and that is exactly how she described Genevieve and why she clocked Genevieve very early. She saw Genevieve doing the same thing, to the point that Rachel would go up to people that Genevieve was just talking to and say, she didn't tell you anything. Do you realize she got all this information from you and she never gave you anything in return? Because once she saw Genevieve working, she was on it. She was trying to make sure that she was raising Genevieve's threat level to everyone, so that they would see what she was doing, because it was so effortless and easy that you didn't even know Genevieve was doing it. Well, Rachel was obviously doing it too, and so was Caroline. So it was so deceptive and with such a soft touch that you didn't know what was going on. And like Nora was saying, Rachel is a prototypical Survivor player, constantly adapting, reacting, tuning their game, knocked down to the very bottom of every tier, all alone. You got no connections after the Sierra vote out, and she starts building, starts working, starts reaching out, making new connections, and targeting the threats that she's most concerned about, and making those moves so that she gets rid of them.
And that's why we were so happy for our winner.
Yeah. Thanks, Nora. Good job. Next up, we got a call from TitoBurrito.
Hello, Joanne, Stacy, and all of you other fellow Survivor fans out there. It is TitoBurrito on the road between Boston and Philadelphia, basically Connecticut. And I definitely want to start by saying great season, expected winner, and Sam, nice try, especially at the final tribal council. Honestly, had a riveting argument multiple times and kind of made me think, oh snap, is this gonna happen? So great job on everyone, great season. A couple things in my personal opinion. What happened to the quorum at the end instead of these individual questions? I preferred when it was more of a open space dialogue. Let's talk about just outwit, and then everyone kind of gets in there and gets their hands in there. I prefer that, so I do miss that. Otherwise, the questions did seem to be better. This is a cast that didn't use generic questions that we get every time, so that was great. Teeny, sorry, babes. The wind was not in your favor. The Survivor gods just kept blowing your flame the wrong way. And Sue, nice try with the age. I don't think that a lot of people take the age in such gravity as she did. I could completely see that, especially as you get older, then you see like, oh man, if someone at basically 60 is kicking butt in Survivor, they kind of deserve a little extra weight. But I guess this cast just didn't see it that way. So, oh well, Sue, sorry, not a single vote. Nice try. Otherwise, again, love the season. Congrats on the winner. Hopefully everyone else had a great Survivor season watching. TitoBurrito out.
Thanks, Tito. Yeah, Sue said in her exit interview that she was surprised. Even when they went back to the Ponderosa after it was over, the age thing had no gravity with anyone, no pull at all. And when you are that age, yeah, you're feeling it every day. You're living it moment to moment.
But none of them are old enough to know
perspective.
that yet.
They haven't.
You don't know it till you get there.
Haven't lived with the pain yet to be able to recognize the significance. And so Sue didn't read the room either. She never got a sense that wasn't going to mean anything to them. So pivot and go in a different direction.
That's kind of like, when my eyesight started diminishing, and you would say, here, honey, let me hold it. Let me hold it back here for you. Is that far enough away?
Exactly.
Can you see it now? And I'm like, you just wait. Your time's coming. You just wait. It'll happen to you too.
Yes.
And then you'd say, "Why are you walking like that? Why are you so stiff? Why are you?" And I'm saying, just give it a little time. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll know why then. And
but
so,
it wasn't significant to this group at all. And
exactly. They're
could
not
see
old
she
enough.
was still wrestling with it a little bit, but on the whole, she was fine, like we were talking about before. Thanks, Tito. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Enadina-n-Brian.
Calling from Phoenix, Arizona. This is Enadina and her husband, Brian.
Yeah, I'm Brian.
Hello. We just watched Survivor and the finale, and I got my order right. I think that
Yay.
Rachel was the best, the girl who lived to see the end. right, Brian?
Yeah, Sam did good on fire, didn't he?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty good. Well, yeah, that was a nice...
Teeny flamed out.
Teeny did a flame out. I didn't expect her to do as well as she did. That was nice. It was a nice, close call. But Teeny, I do admire her ability to communicate, because that is a problem that I have.
I'm surprised Sam didn't mention Operation Italy in his speech.
Oh, yeah, nobody
Final
mentioned
tribal.
that. Although Sam, you could see there for a moment, Rachel's lips got white. She was really, really, really nervous.
She confirms that.
And I was actually nervous that Sam was going to come through. But then she made her final pitch, and I'm like, okay, she sealed the deal. His final pitch was good, but she sealed the deal with hers.
Sam was a better talker than Rachel.
You feel like he was? Well, during it, but the final pitch, I think her final pitch was better than his. And it's fortunate that she went last.
Well, they both went for the sympathy with the crying, so...
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I don't remember the crying. I don't remember Rachel crying. Did she cry?
Well, they got all emotional.
Yeah, I would too.
Teared up.
Well, it was a great episode.
Yeah, it was really good. I did get the last 2 episodes, I did get perfect scores.
Impressive.
But I don't think it helps because I have no USB in the game. So that was lots of fun until, wait a minute, what is the next season? 49?
48.
48. We're still a few away till 50. Until season 48. Signing off from Phoenix. Bye.
All right.
All right.
Good job, Enadina.
Yeah.
Good job, Brian.
You know, I think that Sam was kind of trying to go there by talking about the fake idol. Mm-hmm. And they kind of shut him down with Rachel and then Teeny saying, hey, nobody bought that. And I think that might have shut him down from saying anything else.
Possibly. Also, there's lots we don't get to see from that last final tribal council.
But, you know.
And he'd have to walk a fine line. Genevieve and Andy are right there. And
exactly.
So,
on the jury.
Yeah.
And if he had tried to take credit for that, I believe Andy would have turned Andy against
even quicker.
him. Because,
yeah.
you know, now if he pumped Andy up and said, oh, it was Andy's idea, but now we helped execute and, you know, I helped do, maybe. But, yeah, he had to walk a fine line so that he didn't lose jurors.
Overstep, take too much credit, get busted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because Andy did come up with that plan. It wasn't him.
Well,
It wasn't Sam.
that was when you listen to the exit interviews, they were working in parallel. Before they came together, Sam said he and Genevieve were talking about the beginning of that, you know, leveraging a fake idol and how they could put those pieces together. And then it did just, you know, Andy was thinking along his line, and when he ended up getting chosen, then is when it all clicked. Sam chose him, so maybe, you know, he did doing that consciously, focusing on Andy at that point, that helped make it all possible. But there were elements what I'm trying to say is there are elements that Sam and Genevieve were working on independent of Andy before Andy put his part out there.
And you think Andy would believe that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
It was
his idea.
They were a collaboration. It was a group project for sure. Thanks again, Enadina-n-Brian. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. This is David in Pittsburgh, and I'm calling in for some bragging rights. This season, starting with losing my USB in the first episode. Goodbye, John. I never got to know you and how you would play the game. I was like Andy on the mat, feeling the game was over for me. But then I had the chance to pick my second USB, and I gave it a lot of thought and picked the perfect candidate, which was Jen over Rachel. And eventually, I still managed a scrappy recovery. And unlike Andy, I continued up to the final four, and I got them all correct. So not only did I get all the final four correct in that order, but I had 5 vote-out points. So in the end, I had 105 points, which is my highest score ever in playing JSFL, except for one problem. I screwed up, and one week I didn't put my picks in, and it rolled over, which actually turned out okay because I got points for that. But the second time, I thought I put it in and didn't submit it, so I just decided to let it go. But I play the game with 3 others, and in the group, our scores went from 47 to 85 to 97 to my 105, which means they have to buy me dinner. So I'm happy with the results. As far as the finale goes, Part 2, I didn't think it was as good as the previous 2 episodes, but I have to admit that in the end, first in the challenge, I was concerned about Rachel winning against Sam. Although now I think maybe even if she hadn't wanted and I had to make fire, I think she probably would have pulled it out. But then when it came to the final tribal council, I thought Sam was making a lot of good points, and Rachel missed a couple of questions where I thought she could have been more positive. So I was concerned, but in the end, it was almost unanimous. I do wish that both Sam and Sue did get a vote, because I thought that Sue did play a good game, a good loyal game, and I thought she should have been recognized for that. I was kind of surprised that Carolyn didn't go with that, but then Carolyn's a good game player, and that's what I have to say about this season. They were great game players throughout. Thanks for what you do. Looking forward to the next season, and I will talk to you when it returns and you return. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Yes, this is a season blessed with great game players. Really good. And I'm so thankful that things went down the way they did, and John went out early, and that Goofy Andy was able to stay. Next up, we got an email from Nicola in Kentucky.
Hello, all my Survivor friends and family. I'm so glad you all enjoyed this season. I have to admit, I watched intermittently, and I don't think I actually sat through a whole episode after the first one. The whole Andy thing put me right off.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
Don't get me started on Rome. I loathed him and just could not do it. By the time he went, it was just too late to get my enthusiasm back. But I did listen to every podcast and check the Facebook page for ideas for vote out points in JSFL. I managed to score over 100 again, so I'm very happy with that. Jackson is coming for a couple of days, so we will watch the finale episode while he is here. Like everyone, he is busy with a new school, archery, and now band.
All right.
For myself, the last 6 months have been a lot quieter and less running around, of which the dog is grateful. I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe, and happy holiday season. Make some memories with those you love. Joanne, I know your mom will cherish every minute she gets to spend with you all. Thanks for everything you do. Cheers. P.S. Anderson, keep up the great work. Love hearing your opinions. And sorry, not sorry, you have to sing. I know it will be a good one. Here's hoping I get my Survivor mojo back next season. All right. Thanks, Nicola. It's good to hear from you. Up next, we have a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and if you can't tell by my voice, I'm a little sick, but I wanted to go ahead and record this today on Thursday and not wait, because who knows, I might just be bedridden tomorrow. So I'm so thrilled that the darkest timeline did not happen and Rachel actually won this season. Because you know what? It's a great season, but if it's a winner that you're kind of like, all right, I don't know how I feel about that, then it just makes it a lot less fun. Like 43, I like 43. I think it's a good season, but then you have Gabler winning at the end. I'm just kind of, oh, okay. It's like a great season and a satisfying finish, which is awesome. And I think Rachel is probably... Well, yeah, she's definitely my favorite winner of the new era. There's been some good winners, but there's always just been another person I wanted to win more. Last season, Charlie, and 45, I know it wasn't super realistic, but I was really rooting for Jake, and it just goes back and back throughout the new era. There's just one player that I like a lot more than the actual winner. Since Saul left, Rachel has been my main rooting interest, so I'm pretty satisfied. While I did have Sam going at 4, I am very happy that he made it to Final Tribal Council. One, because I thought that was more satisfying, because I like Sam better than Teeny. And I also found this one-sided rivalry that Teeny has that's all just jealousy and insecurity. Teeny, you gotta work out some stuff. You need some therapy. Like that's not healthy. Let Sam just live his life. So I was happy that he beat her at fire. And yeah, I know he didn't practice fire, and that's like, come on, Sam. But at the same time, he won, so who cares? I just like Sam, so I was happy to see that. And I feel like him and Rachel were really good foils for each other in Final Tribal because they have similar stories. Even the fact that they started on the same tribe. They're kind of like reverse of each other, where Sam started in power and they have the same turning point at the merge, but then Sam couldn't get power back and Rachel got power. So I think that was a really interesting foils for each other, which made for a fun back and forth Final Tribal, in my opinion, and just an absolute great finish for Rachel here. Also, the fact that Rachel and Dino Paolo from South African Survivor, who is my favorite, but definitely my favorite South African player, if not my favorite just Survivor player of all time. They're like real life friends. They're actually friends, and so I'm thinking he gave her some advice, because spoiler alert, he is a winner, and they played kind of similar games. They're winning games, so I'm thinking he did give her some advice, so that was awesome. But next season looks kind of stupid. I'm not gonna lie, I was not over thrilled. I was pretty skeptical with the promo they gave us. I feel like they picked the worst people to showcase. I don't know. I feel like the single dad, he might be my guy, but other than that, I'm definitely gonna have to wait for the actual casting announcement to pick a favorite from that group. Wow, yeah. that was bad. And then somehow I'm not in the basement. I did it. Just like Sam. You know what? I didn't win, but I'm not last. So you know what? I'll take it. I'll take the win. Joey and Stacy, thank you for all you do. Just the greatest Survivor community there is. I'll see you all next season.
Excellent. Thanks, Parker. Got to agree with you there. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joe and Stacey and all Survivor fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. I am in South Australia, Adelaide to be specific, here with my wife, and here to celebrate my best friend's wedding coming up in a week's time. And we got his bachelor's tomorrow and visiting family, so very busy. I thought it was a really good ending to one of the best seasons of Survivor. Sorry to divert, but I went on Reddit and to some other forums, and I think there's a little bit of controversy of this season. I'm not sure. I know we had a listener last week who said that they hated this season, but there are actually a few more people than I thought that have that, and share that same feeling. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think this is one of the best seasons I've ever watched. Certainly in the 40s, I have to agree with you, Stacey. This is by far, in terms of not only the players and how they played the game, but again, it's production, it's Jeff. It's just an amalgamation of things. Yep. It's just made this game much more richer, and I just can't actually see the other viewpoint, whereas normally I can. Normally I can kind of rationalize two different sides. I just can't. I don't know what. Maybe it's the Grinch that stole Christmas. We don't know. Anyway, I thought that Rachel was just the deserved winner. She just controlled the game in the back end and dominated and just had answers for every single question that came her way. I did think that Sam had a really, really decent crack at it, and it was the only way that he was going to have any shot at winning was to kind of discredit her and amp himself up more in that final tribal. I think the gameplay by Rachel was just so superb that it was near impossible, and I think he knew that too. And I'm going in as a big Sam fan. I wasn't a huge fan of Rachel. I appreciated her gameplay, but I think I connected more with Sam because I think we're similar ages, and I'm a bit of a bro. He's a bro for sure. And I think it's just who you connect with, and I connected with him. But look, I appreciate gameplay, and I just think it puts her up there in the pantheon. She's one of the greatest we'll ever see, I think. And there's nothing to stop that from being plastered up there. She's just she controlled the game in the back end, and I think that's what's really important. I think in terms of Survivor, if they were to go ahead with Survivor 50, I'd like it to be players from seasons 41 to 48. I don't see, or 49, sorry. I don't see any value in getting anyone beforehand because we got so many good players from those seasons. If I had to go back, I'd love to see Andy, Genevieve, Sam, or Rome in there. And then got Charlie, Maria, Tevin. We got Jake, Kelly, Austin, Basile, Danny, Carson, Carolyn, Cody, Jesse, Jonathan, Omar, Mike, Hi, and Ricard. There's already an excellent list there, and I'd love to see those characters come back and to kind of stay away from 40 and below. Maybe another season thereafter, maybe we can do that, but I think let's highlight what we've had and let's just celebrate the season and the winner for what it was. Thanks for all that you do. Cheers.
Thanks, Shahin. Yeah, I gotta agree. There's definitely some good ones to pull from in the season. I've been thinking about that a lot too, about that different perspective on this season where there's so many people who love, say, 46 more than 47. That was one of the arguments I saw put forward in the subreddit. And I think part of it might be if you're looking for the entertainment of things. So you've got how wacky Banu is, so you like that. You got how wacky the Dum Dum Club was for being voted out one after another in 46. And the craziness that Liz brings to things, that kind of thing. If you're looking at it for the entertainment value and maybe not so much the overall gameplay and what it means to be able to balance all those things. Maybe that's how you get to that other space, but I don't know for sure either. And it's probably the contrast bias and the recency bias at work for me, but the difference between 46 and 47 is so dramatic. Just overwhelming how great 47 feels in the overall scheme of things. And there was all the goofiness as Propes and the production team were figuring out what's the 40s going to be, what's the new era going to be, that all those fumbles that happened prior, and it seemed like things were really hitting on this season extremely well. Now you got some problems with Rome and him spoiling things and trying to create this artificial controversy around Sue, and Kyle supposedly said things that would get Rome canceled if he said them, but it was the Tweedledee Tweedledum thing, and Sue's got no ill will towards Kyle. There's nothing there. So you had this one person on the cast that was doing some shady things and trying to spoil the season through that Gordon Holmes interview. But it just in the scheme of things, overall, this season is far superior. Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got a call from Brandon.
And Stacy, it's Brandon from Indiana, now in Ohio. Apologies for the background noise. I'm back home visiting family for the holidays and just don't have much downtime. And so I'm doing this while I'm riding in a car as we head to go get breakfast, which I'm very excited about. Anyways, season 47, what a season of Survivor it was. I really enjoyed this one. I'm starting to hear some people that are seemingly mid-season, it felt like there was a lot of this greatest season of the new first era or the new era, but now it seems like some people are backtracking on that and maybe ranking it a little bit lower. I still find this season better than last season, hands down, easily for me. I think this is better than last season. I also liked it better than 45. 44 has a special place in my heart just because it's where I got started in the new era, and I love Carolyn, and the Tika 3 was such a fun story to return to Survivor with that I think I rank it higher than most other people. So I understand why a lot of people aren't super high on that season, but I still want to see the medevacs from that season come back to the game. And I don't think they're going to get a chance unless Survivor starts doing more than just season 50 as returnee seasons. Anyways, very glad to see Rachel get the victory. As I mentioned last time, kind of started rooting for her basically since the Andy clingy boyfriend comment and seeing her skill in puzzles, and was just so much fun rooting for her through the finale, both parts, if you want to call them both parts of the finale. That matchup against Genevieve stacking the balls was maybe the most exciting Survivor challenge I've seen, in my opinion. I really enjoyed that one a lot, just the tension and the suspense that went along with it. So really enjoyed the season. I loved listening to the podcast, hearing everybody else's thoughts. I'm very excited for next season, even though it once again feels just so... Jeff just needs to get over the pain that he feels from being made fun of for healers, hustlers, and whatever, because we need themes back. I can't tell the difference between half these seasons. If there's not a specific character that I can put with the number, I won't be able to remember what season it is. And especially the previews, they seem so generic. It's just, there's not much to them, and I just don't know. I'm excited, but there's nothing specific from that preview that made me excited. I'm just excited because I like Survivor, and I'd be willing to watch another season. That's it. Interested to see what happens in February. Thank you guys so much for doing the podcast. Always enjoy hearing you and the other listeners' feedback, and excited to hear what everyone else thought of season 47.
Outstanding. We always enjoy hearing your take on it too. But
and
thanks.
We hope you're having a wonderful breakfast.
Yes. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's KimJ from Nashville, checking in for the first time this season. I've been meaning to call in and at least express some support for Sam, who I was familiar with before the season because I do watch A to Z Sports here in Nashville sometimes, and that's what he's on. I think he had a great season. I definitely was rooting for Rachel to win. I think she was the best player, but I think that Sam deserved more than one vote. I feel like it's another one of these situations where everybody wants to be on the right side of the vote, but I thought he deserved more than one vote. He really played very well, and he was a great narrator this season, and I really enjoyed watching him. Overall, I thought this season was really pretty good. I think it's been one of the better New Era seasons. I appreciate that we haven't had as many lost votes this season. I feel like there was less producer interference than what we have seen in previous seasons as well. As far as Rachel goes, I think she ranks right up there with Jam Jam and Dee as the best winners in this current New Era. I thought it was kind of unfair for Sam to sort of say that it was like lucky that she won immunities and that's how she got to the end, because had she not won those immunities, she would have not made it. She absolutely would have been voted out. I don't think it's ever a good argument when you've built somebody up and then try to say that that was all part of your plan. I didn't think that was a great argument, but I did think he had a really good tribal. Sue, I thought, had zero argument whatsoever. I feel like Heidi kind of did the same thing. They get to final tribal and they're like, hey, vote for me because then I would be the oldest female winner ever. Like, that's not a reason to get votes. I realize that they don't really have a whole lot to go on at that point, but that's just not really an argument from me as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so Teeny. I think she's got to be one of the players that had was the least effective. It's like she never knew what was going on and had just the worst amount of luck even in the fire making challenge. And as I was watching the fire making challenge, I kept thinking to myself, like, why don't you get up and put some sticks in the front? And then I thought, are they allowed to do that? Are they allowed to get up and move around to help their fire? I don't know if it would have helped or not. I'm not like the fire making genius, but I wondered, Stacy, like what your thought was if you thought that her moving around and putting the sticks to the front maybe would have helped. I did see where apparently Sam had positioned his fire a little bit differently away from the wind. I need explanation as to how you do that. If I'm ever on Survivor, and I don't think I ever will be, but like, how would you position a fire like to away from the wind like that? I do not understand that whatsoever. But anyway, it's so great to contribute to the podcast at least once this season. I'm always listening. Love you guys. And I can't wait to hear what everybody else says.
Excellent. Yeah. Always look forward to hearing from you too, KimJ. Good job. So like I said, I did go back and look. I think it was when I was working on your audio. I was like, okay, I got to go look. And you do see examples of people, even just last season, Kenzie and Liz, they were both up out of their seats, standing. And when you go back and look at Gabler, you can see him moving his fire with his hands, just shifting the sticks. He puts his hands down there and he nudges it to get it to a specific position. You can even see, and he's got big hands, you can see him using his hand to block. And he did set up like a wall. He immediately built a foundation, like a border with the thicker sticks that he used to so he would have a base and he could lock in the smaller sticks that way.
Yeah, and so it wouldn't spread out. It would go.
It doesn't sprawl
higher.
when he was adding the smaller kindling.
Because that's a whole nother element to the challenge versus just making fire is how to make the flames go higher.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to get you to win.
Yes. I've got things I've kept in my back pocket because I've been thinking about this for years if I ever had the opportunity. So KimJ, if you get the opportunity, you reach out, I got you. I'm going to give you some things that no one's ever done that I think are going to work that will absolutely nail it. You'll make fire faster than Heidi did.
All right.
Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, well, that's it for Survivor 47. Overall, it was a great season, and I was happy that we had a deserving winner. Amen. My other observations, I was really surprised that Rachel didn't mention her shot-in-the-dark ploy to the jury. Yep, she didn't actually think it was that big a deal. In our house, I often sing off the boot-outs with Pete's Na-na hey hey song. For Teeny, I sang it with like a bleeding goat. Oh, I want to hear that. You got to send audio, man. Teeny dreamed of making the Final Four. She should have dreamed of making the Final Three. Thanks to Rachel, Flight Instructor Sue made a dead stick landing into Final Three. Why did the show provide a windbreak for Journey Jenga, but not for the Fire Challenge? Well, yeah, that's a great point, too. As I was going back and looking, there was actually one season where they moved them. Probe says, hey, due to the crazy winds here in Fiji, we're going to move the fire-making challenge up into the voting booth. And so the jury and the two that were sitting there, they didn't get to actually see it happen as clearly because they went up the stairs and had them do the fire-making challenge up there in the voting area because the wind was blocked. And the other thing that I'll say about that, too, is you can see people win in either position. So there's potentially times where the wind's worse for one position than the other, but if you just look back last season, Kenzie wins from the position that Teeny was in. Okay, back to Josh. Rachel drove Sam batty with her come behind victory in the immunity challenge. If you doubt, you lose. Sounds like the bridge of death in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Sam and Teeny tried to crib from Rachel's puzzle. Don't they know that cheaters never prosper? I was so distracted by Saul's neckwear that I almost missed parts of Final Tribal Council. He was quite the fashion mogul in all those. Once he hit the jury, wasn't he? I thought it was revealing that Sam took Sue's practice flint. It was nice that Rachel brought her loyal pet to sit with her. Sam, only an arrogant person, wouldn't make fire until forced to for his game. Teeny, befriend the kids who moved desks so they can help you when you move. Sam didn't want to play 25 days and came up short. He did it on day 26 instead. Teeny should look on the bright side. She now has lots of great material to write about. There you go. She's still struggling. You could see in some of her exit interviews when Mike Bloom was giving her some praise, she's still wrestling with all that happened through this season. Sam is resilient and always bounces back. Yep, most of his game, he played like a weeble. Do you know what that is? Do you remember Weebles Wobble, but they don't fall down, the little toys? Yeah. Teeny's sideways bonfire was an inferno worthy of Dante. All these stinky people want to hug Jeff. He must need to take a lot of showers. Teeny will be haunted for the rest of her time on Earth. Isn't NASA planning a mission to Mars? How considerate of Sam and Rachel to throw Sue a breakfast feast for the birthday they didn't know about. Sam should quit his job and become a professional taste tester. Teeny played better than Sam expected. Bless her heart. Sierra wants the final 3 to sweat. Easily done. It's Fiji, not Antarctica. Wasn't Kyle's vote for Sam the good version of a hinky vote? Sam did a great job of spinning his story, but even he can't spin the Tennessee Titans into champions. That's true. When Rachel and Andy did their Rachel, Andy, did anyone else think of John Marcia? Sam excels at harping on other shortcomings. Yep, he's a sports writer. Nailed it. Champagne and pizza are a weird combo, yes. But Sanctuary is a weird restaurant. This is true. For the Survivor post show, Jeff likes it raw. Catering should include some gross food items. Rachel's lucky that Saul didn't want fries with her big burger. Jeff said Sue is a 5%er. That must be why they gave her third place money. Gabe didn't struggle with blindside emotions. He and Genevieve deleted that from their subroutines. Game bots. Andy's way of speaking is orthogonal to mine. Nice. Yeah. See, you use that perfectly. Yes, Gabe, a good Survivor chef breaks eggs for an omelet, but a bad one leaves with egg on his face. Oh, that's good. I like that. Teeny was born the first year Survivor. I was born the same year as Jean-Claude Van Damme, but you don't see me doing split kicks. Or splits. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for me for this season. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a healthy and happy New Year. See you in February. Thanks, Josh. Killed it, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. Been very slack with my feedback this season. I had a hobby that turned into a side gig that turned into a full-time job there for a few weeks with Christmas coming up, but starting to quiet down now so I can get in some feedback for the finale. And I liked it. It was good. The whole season was good. It's been better than the last few. We had no one drop out. And I got to tell you, I was worried on that first episode when Andy had his little wobble, and everything turned out okay. I'm happy that Rachel won. She deserved that, and yeah, she did get a little bit lucky, but everyone gets a little bit lucky. I don't think there's ever been a winner of Survivor that didn't have some luck along the way. And I'm happy with Sam coming second. I always wonder if it's a planned decision by the jury to have one person vote for him to, give him second place over Sue, who really didn't deserve it at all. Really, loyalty was her only strong point, and she had nothing else to argue for. Although she did keep the idol a secret for that long, so she does deserve points for that, because we've seen on previous seasons that can be tricky to do. Teeny was as cute as a bug's ear, but she never had a chance to win. She can delude herself as long as she wants that if she hadn't been taken out at 5, that she would have been able to win. But listen, we all know that was never going to happen. I just don't think she was quite emotionally mature enough to put herself in a situation that she could have won the game. Who else was there? Gabe. It was so embarrassing when he did that dance. I think he thought it was pretty cool, but oh my gosh, I cringed. I was sorry we didn't get to see more of John Lovett play, and that's all Andy's fault. But Andy turned out to be pretty good. Project Italy was a bit of inspiration, really. It turned out to be a pretty good moment for him. I also liked Caroline. I liked Sol. He was pretty cool. And Kyle, who I was pretty high on early in the season, he sort of went downhill for me. He was relying far too much on being a family man to get him to the end and to win the game. But yeah, so all in all, I reckon that was pretty good. It's probably my favourite in the 40s. It maybe 44 is up there as well, but those last couple of years, it was really, really not doing Survivor any favours, I don't think. But hopefully they've turned it around and got players in that want to play, and we'll keep going up and up towards the 50th season. So thank you so much, Joanne and Stacey, for everything that you do with the podcast. I'm certainly not the only one that thinks that what you do makes Survivor itself a whole lot more entertaining. And thanks to everyone that puts in their feedback and contributes on the Facebook page. It's always good to hear other people's opinions, and sometimes they even change my mind. Merry Christmas, everyone, and we'll see you next season. Happy days.
Thanks, Jill. Always great to hear from you. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. It's Jeremiah here with my feedback for the 47 finale. Well, I thought that was a great finale to a really good season. Rachel is definitely one of the better winners we've had in the new era. Is she the best? That's a great question. That probably depends on what you value when it comes to a winner. But for me, I definitely think she's in the conversation, along with the question of, is 47 the best season of the new era, which again is a little early for me to determine, but I think right now it's definitely in the conversation for me. I do think comparing Rachel to Mike Holloway is very interesting and pretty much spot on, because she was definitely a player who found herself a big target late in the game and had to win out to get to the end. But yeah, I'm extremely satisfied with the way everything ended, even though it did wind up being very predictable for most of us playing JSFL, but it still was entertaining. I thought Sam did a pretty good job, of course, in his final tribal council speeches and made a run for it. But I will say my favorite moment was definitely the fire making challenge. Once again, the fire making challenge was really good television. Doesn't always work that way, but this time it really did. I was on the edge of my seat there for a moment. Now, we have seen wind become a factor during the fire-making challenge, and one thing I've always wondered is why don't they stand up and try to block some of that wind? Poor Teeny got a really bad gust that probably cost her a chance at that final prize. I think once you get that going, you really need to protect that fire as much as possible. But I also agree with the argument that Teeny did seem to kind of flame out herself there and didn't work harder on keeping that fire as high as possible. But boy, it sure was exciting. Listen, I know it's a hot take, but I'm a big fan of the fire making challenge. I think it adds value for the players, and I also think it adds value most of the time for us as viewers getting to watch it. It may not always be good television, but a lot of times it is. One question I had for you all is that 5 out of the last 7 winners that we've had in the new era have been women. Of course, everyone knows before the new era, we had a long stretch of only men winners. Do you all think there's something unique about the new era that makes it a little bit easier maybe for women to win? I brought this question up on Facebook, getting a lot of different answers, but I think it's probably a combination of a lot of things, mostly have to do maybe with the casting. What do you all think? Well, season 48, kind of hard to tell right now what I think about it. I had no idea that chocolate milk had so much power. Sounds like you should start drinking a lot more chocolate milk. But once the entire cast gets revealed, I'll be able to make a lot better judgment once I see everybody in my Jabbick predictions, of course. But they have a tough act to follow with 47. Congratulations to our winner in JSFL and, of course, our side challenge winner, Robert. Can't wait to hear what you pick out for the song. And that'll be it for me. Again, Joanne and Stacy, thank you for all your amazing hard work on this fantastic podcast that means so much to me. And until season 48, which is a very short break, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremiah. I think that chocolate milk might have some TRT or some anabolic juice in it. But yes, looking forward to seeing what comes of that. Next up, we got I didn't answer his question. He was asking about the female winners and what factors might be a part of that. I think it's possibly helped amplified a little bit because it plays the 26 days. I think that is a possible factor in that because it helps the ones who come from the middle, and a lot of them fit that profile, the under the radar sort of middle of the whole cast space. Did you have any ideas? Anything that might be driving it?
I don't think that hard about that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what we have right now.
No, it's over now. Move on. I got other things to do.
Squirrel.
So sorry there, Jeremiah.
Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Actually, this is Jen in Texas as we are making our way across the country to spend Christmas with family. And because we're on our road trip, I did not dedicate my usual 100% attention to the Survivor finale because I was packing and getting ready to go. So my thoughts are going to be pretty brief on this one. But my thoughts are all positive as it was a good finale, albeit predictable. I don't think there was really ever any question as to whether Rachel was going to win or not. She was just so obviously dominant, and all of the other players thought very positively of her throughout the season and in the end. So there really was no controversy or no big moment where they thought, this action might make me want to not vote for Rachel. I learned a valuable lesson in not changing my first picks for the final in JSFL. Uh-oh. If I would have just left my initial picks alone, I would have gotten full points minus the USB for the finale in the final four. But I talked myself into thinking that Teeny was going to stay in the game because she was the least likely to win. And so I switched she and Sue around, and darn it, I didn't get my full points. I think Rachel's a good winner. I think Sam is a great runner-up. I think it was a hard-fought final tribal council, but I think the right decision was made. And I will remember this season fondly. I do think that this is the best season of the 40s. I think this cast was great. I think that we're going to see several of them again on a future season. I think that their personalities and their gameplay was that good. And it makes me optimistic for next season. And so I'm just going to leave that there and just say that I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. And as always, I can't wait till next February or so to hear that the Jabbick has dropped for season 48. Thank you, Joanna and Stacy, for all that you do. I hope that you enjoy your downtime getting moved in to your new home and getting everything fixed up. And I can't wait to hear your voices next year. Till then, bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. I hope you have a safe road trip and enjoy all that time with family.
We actually do have to move again. We have to move all of this furniture into the newly built room that was falling apart. And so all of this furniture has to go in there. So we will be moving over the holiday too, hopefully.
Okay. You took her
just to the other room.
Road trip thing to be like a moving? She wasn't saying they were moving. She said they were just going to visit.
I wasn't, no, that wasn't what I was doing.
Okay.
Anyway, we digress.
Moving on. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. And I'm sure that everyone else has already said what I'm going to touch on here. But just for the record, yeah, that was a great season. It's not only the best season of the new era, it's also a top 10 overall, at least for me. For a while now, I've been thinking that the shortened gameplay was the reason for the average to weak seasons, but this sure turned that around. And I said it in my last feedback, and I'll say it again now after seeing the final episode. Rachel was by far the best player out there. She adapted and changed her gameplay to suit the situations that others unfolded around her, and that's just a strong player to me. I was worried a bit because it looked like Sam was making inroads to the jury, but in the end, I think it became clear to everyone that Rachel was a monster. Well, everyone but Kyle, who I feel voted for the man and not the player. But yeah, I'm happy that Sam got at least one vote, but he never practiced making fire, and that was on him. But I guess sometimes fate can be fickle because I was sure that Teeny had that. But in the end, nature intervened to Sam's favor. And to be perfectly honest, I wish that Sue had gotten a vote as well, because in the end, I felt that she wasn't a GOAT. She did have merit in the game, and I liked how Jeff cheered her on at the end and read off those impressive stats that Sue became part of. It just goes to show you that sometimes you can lose and still be a winner. Then there was poor Teeny, who had yet another moment in the water with Sam that left me sour to her. She just seems to take offense so quickly when she's hurt. I guess we all do, but poor Teeny had her feelings shown on air for the world to see, and yeah, we all have bad moments, so I really can't fault her there. That said, sadly, she was the weakest player, and if there was to be a GOAT in the final three, I think Teeny would have fit that bill perfectly. Oh, and I have to comment on the use of the word orthogonal, which I always associate with Sylvia and Rocky from Survivor Fiji when Sylvia said that the shelter they were building looked a bit askew to her. Rocky said that she used too many big words, so she defined it for him by saying that it meant that the building was not orthogonal. I always chuckle when I hear that word, so I was so glad to hear it in this episode. So I guess in a nutshell, we had the best ever fire making challenge, wonderful players, and a superb season all in all. And with that, I want to wish everyone the happiest of holidays. Me, well, Taz and I will be in Greece by the time you hear this. We're spending the holidays abroad, and I am dying to see the fireworks over the Acropolis on New Year's. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for everything. And thank you, Steve, for your wonderful website that enables everyone to play and gives Joanne a bit of a break from manually keeping tabs of things. So everyone take care. I'll catch you all again next season. Bye.
Fantastic. Good job. Thanks, Paul. Well, we are there at the end. Do you have any last thoughts on season 47 or this cast? Or
well, I first want to say I hope you guys have a great time in Greece.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Sounds amazing.
And, all I can say is what everyone else has said. Loved this season. We were talking before we started recording. We just kept getting sidetracked. Anyway, we were talking about how much we enjoyed it and how rewarding it is when who you want to win actually does.
Yes.
And because it's very different. I mean, you deal with it. It's like, oh, well, yeah, that's what I wanted, but that's not what happened. But this person is also deserving, blah, blah. But this, for us, just kind of ended perfectly.
The telling of the story and the result matched up.
Yes.
So many times when I found myself disappointed or sort of bummed out at the end of the season, it was because I didn't understand it.
They didn't give enough data to make sense to how
They didn't lay the foundation for that to be the ending that occurred.
They hid too much.
Yeah, I think for years they were focused on the power of that blind side on the audience as well as what was happening within the game. And so many times we as the audience got blindsided and we would be like, oh, wow, we didn't see that. But you don't want that at the end. That is absolutely not the way you don't want to be blindsided by the winner.
There is a difference between being blindsided and going, oh, wow, yeah, blindside, yay, and being just confused.
Yes.
But what? How did that happen? We saw nothing that would even remotely indicate that would be a possibility.
And so this season did really well. You could see it building. You could see the paths to the win for Caroline, for Genevieve, eventually Andy, for the potential for Sam to come back, although he underwhelmed at every opportunity along the way. But the potential was there. And then he was fighting so hard and making some progress even at the very end with Final Tribal. But you could see the story developing even as their flames got snuffed out, their torches got extinguished. And so there was so much potential, and the groundwork had been there, and to see all the awesome play. And I think I'll remember Project Italy, and I'll remember Rachel's fake funeral ploy and how awesome that was when she played the idol there.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And she is head and shoulders above so many of the previous players as well as previous winners in terms of, because she got a fully developed story and we got that fulfillment there.
And I think she was able to manage her down times, as they were saying, very well. And probably mostly just within herself and on her own.
Yeah, there's a maturity and an adaptability that she demonstrated that is a huge differentiator. She talked about on the On Fire podcast that so her and Charlie from last season were aware of each other because she was there. She was an alternate for season 46. So she was there in Ponderosa with them. And the thing that she said that was in her notes that resonated with her was at one point while she was an alternate, and she obviously didn't get chosen, she had written down in her notes, I don't feel like this is my group.
Ooh.
And that came to fruition. That ended up being the reality. They didn't use her for that season. And then when she came back this season and she was doing Ponderosa again, she said, this is it. This is my group.
Well, I think it is in a large part due to the personal, the interpersonal growth and development that she has done in her life, that she had just a wealth of information
skills.
And emotions and skills,
emotional
to pull
maturity
from.
Yes.
And that otherwise, I mean, she was the underdog for and had to really fight and scrap for everything.
Could have given up, could have been wiped out.
Yes, could have gone. I know that Jen was very confident that Rachel would, but I was not. I was like, oh no, and if she goes out, she doesn't win, and they're taking her out, the very first.
Yeah.
So I even during tribal. I never was completely confident.
Nope.
Yeah, and so it was way more entertaining for me being on the edge, because I really was on the edge.
Yep. Me
I
too.
knew what I wanted and
Yes.
who I wanted, but it worked out.
It's like it's hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah,
This season, it just did that for us.
Yes.
So, yeah, fantastic season. I hope they've got the casting dialed in. I hope we get something as good in 48 and 49 and on. I hope they've got a better beat on it so that the quitters stop showing up and the wackadoodles, although I guess wackadoodles appeal to a certain portion of the audience.
Well, we have had a lot of experience adapting,
Yes.
and I'm sure whoever the cast turns out to be, we will adapt
Yes.
and enjoy our show.
Find things to enjoy. Yes,
right.
We will. Thank you to everybody who took time to share your thoughts and predictions with us this one last time for this season. We enjoyed it. We always appreciate hearing from you. Want to acknowledge the effort required for doing that as you're traveling and all the things that are going on. One of the busiest times of the year. We deeply appreciate you. We also want to give a big thanks to Kim for your subscription donation. Thank you so much for that. It helps with our operational cost, which we will be incurring in the off season. So we deeply appreciate it. And that's what makes it possible for people to find us and then go back and enjoy season after season with all that you've helped us create here in this fantastic community, so even from the beginning back in 2005, you can go catch the podcast focused on Palau
And
as you're watching and enjoying Palau.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, we do here. Like Brandon was
Right,
one of the
wow.
more recent ones telling us, hey, I'm going through your back catalog. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. And then he caught us in season 44 and got to experience it firsthand and be a contributor. Yeah, that's amazing when that happens. We also want to thank Paul for creating that JSFL logo and the roster that we've got up on the screen right now as we're doing this and looking back and thinking about the season and all the help it gave us along the way, as well as the help he gave us while we were traveling, covering for us, running the scoring. Big thanks to Steve, as always, for creating and maintaining that JSFL website. It challenges him. Sometimes he's got to throw in a lot of extra effort to keep that running and to keep it going, and we appreciate that. It wouldn't be possible to have the Fantasy League without that solution he created.
Nope.
And lastly, big thanks to Jeremiah for running the Facebook page. The podcast is a community, and we appreciate everyone who contributes to it. Thanks for being the shepherd over there, Jeremiah.
Absolutely. And once again, we would like to say congratulations to Clutter on winning JSFL this season,
Nice work.
and to Robert for winning the side challenge.
Yeah.
And
Impressive.
As Robert said, he has chosen Taking Care of Business by Bachman Turner Overdrive
BTO.
for Anderson to use to sing the parody he will prepare for us, and we'll hear it in Jabbit Part 2 in February. So that's when it's due, Anderson. Anything else?
I think we covered it. We are at the end. We wish you...
to put this season to bed.
Yes, we wish you all happy holidays, safe travels. We look forward to gathering back together again in February for season 48. Have a good one.